It's the Flow Friday night sports show, and it's time for us now to have a look at North-Central Netball. I've been waiting to do this for 3 years now. It's great to have North-Central Netball on the program. Of course, COVID ruined us last year. The year before, we didn't have a correspondent. This year we do, and we've gone straight to the top. We've got the president of the North-Central Netball Association, Susan Lockhart, joining us on the line. Susan, welcome to the Flow Friday Night Sports Show.
Yeah, g'day, Jason. How you going?
I'm really good, and it's great to have you on. Love your competition. We've had Ricky Allen coming up a little bit later on to talk about the football side of things, so it's great to have netball on the program.
Yeah, that's good. Good on Ricky for getting on board. He's a good man.
He is a good man, and I tell you what, your netball club is a pretty good netball club too, just quietly. Following it through the news last year, Wedderburn, in 2019 it was undefeated, I think, in their last run through the season. But, gee whiz, you've had some success over the years, haven't you?
Yeah, Wedderburn have been pretty dominant over the years. You know, Witchyproof came in and had a pretty good team back in 2018 it was, and they took it out, which was awesome for them. You know, they hadn't won a premiership for many, many years, but Wedderburn we're just that little bit closer to Bendigo, and we seem to be able to manage to get our uni students to keep coming back up the Calder Highway to Wedderburn, and all those things help to keep us strong. So anyway, but I'm supposed to be talking about North Central today, not just Wedderburn.
I know. We can't focus too much on Wedderburn. Look, you've got 8 pretty strong clubs throughout the grades. Now, before we talk about who's going to do what, and we'll spend a lot of our season talking about the A grade, can we talk about the structure of your competition? How many senior grades have you got? What about the juniors? How does it all work?
Yeah, well, rightio. Well, we've got 3 senior grades, and we've had that for many years now. We've got A, B and C, and all clubs are able to field an A, B and C this year, which is really fabulous coming back from COVID. St Arnaud were very shaky, weren't sure whether they were going to get up there with the 3 teams, but they've got there. And Charlton have struggled with the 3 grades there in the years gone by, but they've got back on with 3 grades this year, so we're pretty happy with that. And then we have 3 competition grades in the juniors, which is 16A and B and under 13. And then we have a B competition, which isn't for points, but it's for participation and introduction into netball. So
Excellent.
With that, we've got a pretty good, mix of talent and inclusiveness for everybody there. So
7
pretty happy.
Yeah, 7 fixtures at minimum a weekend. That's fantastic because it's a big geographical area, your association, as we know. But there's, I guess it's a sparse population, like many places in country Victoria, in fact, country Australia. So being able to fill those grades, 3 seniors, 3 juniors every week, that's fantastic.
Yeah, no, it is. It's pretty awesome. And, you know what, we're probably, kilometre-wise, 100 Ks is probably all up to Sea Lake. I guess 120, 30 Ks is the furthest we travel, which isn't bad for some leagues. They have to do a lot more than us. So we're feeling pretty positive and comfortable and happy with that distance as well. So keeps us all in, pretty close together and able to get everybody to the games, which is great.
In fact, I'm glad you mentioned the games because your games get underway this weekend. The 10th of April is kick-off. And look, what we might do, I think, is go through this weekend's fixtures. We'll talk about the A grade in the chances of who might win and who's in and who's out and the like, what information you've got for us today. But we'll start with Birchip Watcham. And they will be hosting St Arnaud, who you mentioned earlier. What have you heard about both of those clubs?
Well, I know that Birchip Watcham have got plenty of girls this year, so that's a good sign for probably having a bit of depth around the place. And as I just said, St Arnaud were struggling to field their 3 teams, so struggling for numbers. They're the biggest town in the competition, and they can't, they haven't got their girls getting back into the netball. So we need to encourage them, and we want to get as many St Arnaud girls getting on the road and getting to their club and get back on the court because they really need them. But, I'm thinking Birchip are going to be the better team this year or this week for that match. So just based on that information that I've got, because I don't really know who's playing yet.
It's all guesswork in round 1, isn't it?
Yeah, round 1 could be anything, particularly having a year off. Some people could have decided to retire or have a baby. All those sort of funny things happen
Exactly,
around here.
exactly. The netball conundrum is always who's building the next, the future building blocks of the club. That scourge of pregnancy can strike at any time across good netball clubs. But for the record, for what it's worth, Watcham, 8-8 in 2019. They finished just outside the finals, and St Arnaud were 5-11, and they finished sixth. So 5th and 6th from that ladder, facing off against each other in round one.
And interesting, and Birchip are often, for some reason, they're always in that 4-5 area each year. So they'll be looking to come up this year. They're fighting. It comes to the last few rounds, and we know that they're fighting to win the last couple to get into the 4. And sometimes they get in, sometimes they miss out. But last year, obviously, or 2 years ago, they obviously missed out.
Yep, spot on. I tell you what, two of your challenges from 2 years ago back in 2019 were certainly Boort and Sea Lake Nandaly Tigers. Now, Boort will be hosting this one. They'll face off in round one. They finished 2nd and 3rd on the ladder at the end of the minor round back in 2019. This should be a beauty.
Yeah, agreed. And it's a night game. So Boort like to start the season with a night game at their home club.
I think that's fantastic. It's the best time of year to be playing at night when it's still nice and warm.
Yeah. Oh, it was a pity it wasn't last night because the weather was just spot on last night. But Saturday night will be a little bit cooler. But I think Boort are going to be really strong this year. I'm sort of tipping they're going to be back up there again in the top 1, 2, somewhere around that spot. So just based on the fact that they've got a lot of players as well, that's another good sign.
Okay, so Boort for that one. We move on to Wycheproof Narraport, who actually rounded out the finals fixtures in 2019. They finished 4th on the ladder. They take on Charlton at Charlton in round one. And Charlton only managed the 2 wins to finish bottom of the ladder back in 2019. So you'd think Wycheproof Narraport, if they've managed to keep that group together, you mentioned earlier they won the premiership in 2018. Pretty experienced group of girls.
All right. Well, I have got a little bit of info. Charlton are going to be biggest improvers for the whole group this year. I think Charlton will see themselves in the finals this year based on the players they've got coming back into the team.
Right.
And the younger players they've got coming through, which have grown in the last couple of years. They're really getting a little bit of experience, so they're going to be strong for them. Unfortunately for Wycheproof, they lost one of their key players, Susanna Fawcett, with an ACL at a practice match a couple of weeks ago. So that is a real bummer for them.
That's horrible.
And, they've still got a group of good, really solid players, but Susanna out of that team, she was pretty flexible. She could play defence, play mid-court and help them out there. So they're really going to miss Sue.
So we think Charlton perhaps in round one, I won't say upset, but they've obviously improved a lot in the last 18 months and done some pretty good recruiting.
And they've got some players back at the club that haven't been there for a few years, so that's going to help them.
That will help. They finished equal bottom back in 2019. There was percentage separating them and Donald. And that's our last group of clubs that we're going to have a look at today. Is Donald will take on the top side from 2019 in Wedderburn at Donald. They'll at least host the game. How are your girls looking compared to the Donald girls?
Well, our Wedderburn A grade is a new look probably. A few players gone from our grand final team. But we have had some really strong juniors coming through to have their first season in A grade. So, there's quite an exciting day tomorrow for the Lockhart girls. Not my daughters, but my husband's cousin's daughters.
Right.
It's a bit confusing, but he's got 4 daughters playing in the A grade tomorrow.
Wow.
So that'll be very exciting for them. I'll be sure to get a photo and share it around somewhere. So that's pretty exciting. Their names are Emma, Olivia, Eliza and Grace.
Wow. And
their cousin Meg, who is our daughter, she coaches that team. So those 5 girls will be holding up some part of the team anyway. Let's hope they go all right. Donald are good this year again. They're always very solid. So they're coached by Xanthi Rice, who has a netball brain beyond her years, although she's a bit older now, but she's still young. But she's always had a wonderful netball brain and she knows how to coach a team to win. So they've got a big day tomorrow.
Excellent. Well, good luck to them, and for what it's worth, I know you're trying to be as neutral as possible, so I'm going to tip Wedderburn to win that one, because I know you won't, even though you will.
Well, no, because I can't, because I'm not really sure. I really believe that that Donald will be very hard to beat tomorrow. And,
Okay.
We've got Maddie Holt back, who's a wonderful player, and she's just come back from having her second child. So, all those things can hold us back from being at our best. So,
That's true.
Donald could be coming through with some pretty good players this year.
We'll see how right or wrong we were this time next week. But I tell you what, one thing we do know is there'll be some sore girls on Sunday morning after nearly 18 months off the court. It's great to have netball back, and I'm sure you're looking forward to it, Susan.
Oh, look, it is. It's just exciting. It's great. I'm happy for the girls. They missed it last year. They always found things to do, but it's everything we talked about was COVID, and now everybody's talking about the vaccine, and now we can talk about footy and netball and hockey. We've got hockey in our league too, so won't that be a different feel?
It will, absolutely. And look, we will catch up again next week. Enjoy the netball this weekend, and Susan, thanks for joining us here on the Flow Friday Night Sports Show.
Yeah, good on you, Jason. Thanks for having us.